Football in practice when I was in high school. We said, you don't want any showboats on this team. I never forget one time I was coming down the court. I used to.
Oscar Robertson wasn't just the Big O. He was the most calculated and unforgiving superstar in basketball history. Behind that smooth, triple-double brilliance was a man who never forgot a slight, never forgave betrayal, and systematically destroyed anyone who dared question his greatness. The media painted him as basketball's perfect gentleman, but former teammates reveal a completely different story. This was a player who operated on pure intelligence and cold vengeance. Robertson didn't need to scream or throw punches. He would methodically dismantle opponents through psychological manipulation and political maneuvering that left careers in ruins. Former NBA executives admit they were terrified of crossing Oscar because his influence extended far beyond basketball courts into boardrooms and media circles.
Do those things Marcus Haynes did with dribbling.
Yes.
Fall down, lay down, try to get guys. I went behind my back.
Today, we're revealing the 6 players who made Oscar Robertson's permanent enemy list. These weren't temporary playoff rivalries or competitive disputes. These were deep, personal vendettas that consumed years of Robertson's career and shaped the entire landscape of professional basketball. From racial politics that split the league to backstabbing teammates who learned painful lessons about loyalty. The shocking revelation about our #1 pick involves a betrayal so devastating that it changed Oscar's entire approach to trusting teammates. We're talking about secret meetings, deliberate sabotage, and political warfare that nearly ended multiple Hall of Fame careers. The truth about Oscar Robertson's dark side has been buried for decades, but not anymore.
And I'm sure if I'd have dribbled the ball behind my back in a basketball game, the press would have said, oh, the Harlem Globetrotters, clowns on the court.
6. Pete Maravich. The battle between these two basketball icons went far beyond court competition. It was a calculated war over who deserved to be called the league's premier guard.
The gym we had was a gym that, once they played on the main court, there was no room to shoot.
Pete Maravich's flashy style and incredible scoring ability drove Oscar Robertson into a cold, methodical rage that lasted decades. Former players reveal that Oscar viewed Maravich as an inferior talent who received undeserved recognition due to his entertaining play and media fascination with his showmanship. The animosity erupted during All-Star selections when Maravich consistently received more fan votes despite Oscar's superior all-around statistical output. Former league officials confirmed that Robertson privately complained about the voting process, claiming that Maravich benefited from his crowd-pleasing style rather than fundamental basketball excellence. Oscar allegedly told associates, "Statistics don't lie, but flashy moves do." But here's where the vindictiveness became legendary. Oscar systematically undermined Maravich's reputation through strategic conversations with coaches and executives.
In the gym we had one main court, had baskets on the side.
Former teammates revealed that Robertson would question Maravich's basketball IQ during private meetings, suggesting that his scoring prowess came at the expense of team basketball and winning. The psychological warfare intensified during their head-to-head matchups. Former referees noticed that Oscar would deliberately target Maravich's defensive weaknesses, exploiting his gambling tendencies with surgical precision while making subtle comments designed to frustrate his opponent. One former player claimed that Oscar told Maravich during a timeout, "All the fancy dribbling in the world can't replace basketball fundamentals." The most damaging aspect was Oscar's long-term campaign to influence all NBA team selections. Former voters admit that Robertson's articulate arguments about complete player evaluation often swayed their decisions against Maravich, effectively costing him multiple honors and historical recognition by emphasizing winning over individual statistics. 5. Bob Cousy. The clash between basketball's old establishment and emerging revolution created one of the most intellectually vicious feuds in sports history. Bob Cousy represented everything Oscar Robertson wanted to destroy: the outdated style, limited athleticism, and racial dynamics of early NBA basketball. This wasn't just generational conflict. It was Oscar's systematic campaign to prove that the league's previous heroes were inferior talents. The war began when Cousy made comments about modern players lacking fundamentals during Oscar's rookie season. Former Celtic teammates reveal that Robertson was absolutely furious about these remarks, viewing them as direct attacks on his revolutionary playing style and athletic superiority. Here's the explosive revelation. Oscar allegedly orchestrated media campaigns to diminish Cousys' historical significance. Former sports writers confirmed that Robertson would provide detailed statistical comparisons during interviews, methodically proving that Cousys' achievements were products of weaker competition and primitive basketball understanding. The psychological destruction became personal when Oscar started questioning Cousys' coaching abilities during his brief stint with the Royals. Former players witnessed Robertson openly challenging Cousys' strategies during timeouts, saying things like, "That approach worked in the 1950s, not against real athletes." The most devastating blow came when Oscar influenced younger players' opinions about basketball legends. Former teammates revealed that Robertson would educate rookies about outdated heroes and media-created reputations, effectively poisoning an entire generation's respect for Cousys' contributions. The intellectual superiority Oscar displayed in dismantling Cousys' legacy was more brutal than any physical confrontation, leaving the Celtic legend's reputation permanently damaged among modern players. 4. John Havlicek. The torture of watching John Havlicek celebrate championship after championship while Oscar's superior talents went unrewarded created a resentment so deep it poisoned Robertson's entire career. Havlicek represented everything Oscar despised about team success, a role player getting credit for accomplishments that belonged to more talented individuals. The hatred crystallized during the 1960s playoff battles when Havlicek's clutch performances repeatedly ended Oscar's championship dreams. After one particularly devastating loss, former Royals players claimed that Oscar spent the entire flight home dissecting how Havlicek's limited skill set was being elevated by superior teammates and coaching systems. Here's the shocking truth. Oscar began a calculated campaign to expose Havlicek as an overrated system player. Former coaches confirmed that Robertson would provide detailed scouting reports to opposing teams, revealing Havlicek's weaknesses and suggesting specific strategies to neutralize his effectiveness. The psychological warfare became personal when Oscar started making subtle comments about sixth men who get starter recognition during interviews. Former media members revealed that Robertson would masterfully redirect Havlicek praise toward his teammates, saying things like, "Great players make everyone around them better, not the other way around." The most brutal aspect was Oscar's influence on All-Star voting and individual awards. Former Players Association members admit that Robertson's articulate arguments about true basketball value often prevented Havlicek from receiving honors that his team's success suggested he deserved. 3. Elgin Baylor. The betrayal that shattered Oscar Robertson's faith in superstar solidarity came from someone who should have been his greatest ally. Elgin Baylor's failure to support Oscar during crucial players' rights battles and individual recognition fights created a rift so profound that it changed how Robertson viewed every relationship in professional basketball. This wasn't just disappointment. It was complete disillusionment with someone he considered an equal. The animosity began when Baylor remained silent during Oscar's campaigns for fair All-Star voting procedures. Former Players Association members revealed that Robertson expected Baylor's support in challenging the selection process, but the Lakers star refused to take public stands that might damage his marketability. Here's the devastating revelation. Baylor allegedly undermined Oscar's MVP candidacy during private conversations with voters. Former league executives confirmed that Baylor would praise Oscar's statistics while questioning his leadership qualities, effectively damaging Robertson's reputation through subtle character assassination. The psychological wounds deepened when Baylor received extensive media coverage for his scoring achievements, while Oscar's complete statistical dominance was treated as routine. Former teammates noticed that Robertson became increasingly bitter about the disparity in recognition, privately calling Baylor a one-dimensional scorer getting two-dimensional praise. The most painful incident occurred during an awards ceremony when Baylor failed to acknowledge Oscar's presence while accepting his own honor. Former attendees claimed that Robertson interpreted this as deliberate disrespect, cementing his belief that Baylor viewed him as competition rather than colleague. The betrayal left Oscar convinced that superstar cooperation was impossible, fundamentally changing his approach to every future relationship. 2. Wilt Chamberlain. The philosophical war between these two basketball geniuses represented the ultimate clash of competing greatness theories. Wilt Chamberlain's statistical obsession and individual focus drove Oscar Robertson to absolute fury because it represented everything wrong with basketball priorities. This wasn't rivalry. It was Oscar's mission to prove that Wilt's approach to the game was fundamentally flawed and damaging to team sports. The conflict erupted when Wilt's 100-point game received massive celebration while Oscar's triple-double achievements were treated as routine accomplishments. Former teammates reveal that Robertson was disgusted by the media attention surrounding individual scoring records, viewing them as selfish pursuits that ignored basketball's collaborative nature. Here's the explosive truth. Oscar systematically undermined Wilt's reputation through strategic conversations with coaches and front office executives. Former league officials confirmed that Robertson would provide detailed analyses of how Wilt's statistical chasing hurt team chemistry and playoff success, effectively influencing personnel decisions against Chamberlain. The intellectual warfare became brutal when Oscar started making public comments about empty statistics and players who prioritize personal records over championships. Former media members reveal that Robertson's articulate criticisms of stat padding were specifically designed to target Wilt's legacy without mentioning his name. The most devastating attack came when Oscar influenced younger players' understanding of basketball excellence. Former teammates confirmed that Robertson would educate rookies about real greatness versus manufactured achievements, effectively teaching an entire generation to dismiss Wilt's statistical dominance as meaningless individual accomplishments. The hatred represented Oscar's complete rejection of everything Wilt symbolized about basketball priorities. 1. Jerry Lucas. The ultimate betrayal came from within Oscar Robertson's own team, creating the most devastating personal destruction in basketball history. Jerry Lucas, Oscar's Cincinnati teammate and supposed ally, orchestrated a backstabbing campaign so calculated and vicious that it nearly ended Robertson's career and fundamentally changed his ability to trust anyone in professional sports. The shocking truth that rocked the basketball world: Lucas secretly worked with team management to diminish Oscar's role and influence within the Royals organization. Former front office executives reveal that Lucas would provide detailed reports about Oscar's attitude problems and locker room disruptions, effectively poisoning management against their own superstar. Here's the nuclear revelation that destroyed their relationship forever. Lucas allegedly spread rumors about Oscar's commitment to winning, claiming that Robertson cared more about personal statistics than team success. Former teammates confirmed that Lucas would make these accusations during private meetings with coaches, systematically undermining Oscar's leadership credibility. The psychological warfare reached its peak when Lucas began recruiting other players against Oscar's influence. Former Royals reveal that Lucas created a faction within the team designed to isolate Robertson, making him feel like an outsider on his own squad. The most devastating blow came when Lucas publicly supported management decisions that hurt Oscar's career, including contract negotiations and trade discussions. So there you have it, Oscar's most bitter enemies. Which betrayal shocked you most? Drop your reactions in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more NBA secrets.